Number 10. Sharing the stage. JLo didn't hold back when it came to her opinion on sharing the stage with Shakira at the 2020 Super Bowl halftime show. In her newly released documentary called Halftime, she labeled it as the worst idea in the world. Quote, "If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes. That's what they should have effing done." Basically, it turns out that Jennifer was frustrated with the NFL for booking two headliners and making them share the same amount of time that any solo performer would receive, as opposed to doubling it and giving the women extra time to shine. As a result, fans slammed the artist for coming off as entitled. While it's true that they only gave the performers 6 minutes each, the action-packed show garnered immense praise from fans across the globe, with many fans commending the women for showcasing their Latin heritage so brilliantly. What JLo was really mad about though is that previous solo headliners like Beyonce and The Weeknd received 14 minutes to perform, but judging by her complaints, it's clear that she feels offended that they asked her to share the stage at all. Number 9. Cheating allegations. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have had an on-again, off-again romance that has been going on since the 2000s, with fans even nicknaming the couple Benifer. I mean, these two just got married this year after they first got engaged nearly 2 decades ago, but the timeline of their relationship is a huge red flag and included alleged cheating. So in July of 2002, Lopez filed for divorce from her second husband, Chris Judd, citing irreconcilable differences. But this news broke just months after Lopez had wrapped the movie Glee alongside her then boyfriend Ben. Even though she vehemently denied cheating rumors, Ben took out an ad in The Hollywood Reporter gushing about Lopez before her divorce wasn't yet finalized. In fact, even Chris Judd's father, Larry, spoke out against the couple and accused JLo of being unfaithful to his son. He insinuated that the affair started during the filming of Glee. Quote, "I thought Mr. Affleck would honor a married woman and not just go right into the trailer," and added that she'd be happier if she'd just tell the truth and no one in her little circle is going to say one negative thing to her. But we'll never really know the truth of what happened. Number 8. Music theft. The star has been accused of stealing and borrowing background tracks and vocals from other artists for years. One of the stars who accused her of doing this was Usher in 2005. He claimed that she stole a song that he cast aside while recording his hugely successful album called Confessions. Usher claimed that JLo's single Get Right is actually a re-recorded version of Ride, a song that he co-wrote the year before, which was only available online. He said, quote, "I hate it, but I'd better get some of the publishing rights or else. I didn't put it on my album because I couldn't get it right, but I didn't expect JLo to just take it." And apart from being accused of stealing the same sample song that Mariah Carey used for Loverboy, JLo was also given songs that were initially intended for Ashanti, which is why a lot of people claim what happened between the two artists was straight up music theft. In September of 2001, Lopez released I'm Real from her second studio album, JLo, that she worked on with Irv Gotti. But the song was already recorded and mixed with Ashanti's vocals, which is why you can still hear her background vocals in Lopez's version. Number 7. Makeup artist feud. Scott Barnes, who worked for JLo for the past 20 years, has had to deal with so much of the star's crazy hot and cold behavior. In the mid-2000s, the star essentially banished her longtime makeup artist, Scott Barnes, after rumors surfaced that someone had leaked info to the press about her and Marc Anthony's secret marriage ceremony. Speaking on the Jeff Probst show in 2012, when asked about how JLo treated him, he said, quote, "It was like I had the plague." But interestingly enough, eventually she ended up giving Barnes his old job back again after learning the truth, but apparently failed to apologize for being so cold and ruthless towards him. I mean, she literally cut him off without a word and blamed him for the leak without even confronting him. Barnes went on to say, quote, "I went right back to work with her and we just never spoke about it again," which is even weirder. The funny thing is, her celebrity makeup artist would go on to work with her for another 6 years and insisted that they remain on good terms despite the fact that she ghosted him and didn't even apologize for it. Number 6. The Marc Anthony romance. Celebrity gossip magazines could not get enough of the power couple in the early 2000s. They were absolutely everywhere and it seemed like fans loved the pairing. But their beginnings as a couple were super questionable to say the least. Anthony married former Miss Universe Dayanara Torres in 2000, while Lopez was dating Ben Affleck roughly around the same time. But the on-again, off-again couple picked their romance back up while Anthony was still married to Dayanara. So less than a week after Anthony's divorce was finalized, the couple surprised fans by getting married in a small, all-casual ceremony in her Beverly Hills home in early June. It really begs the question of whether or not JLo was some kind of homewrecker, because the timeline of the rekindled relationship seems really off. I mean, he actually broke Dayanara's heart, and she said, quote, "You go through hell. I cried until there were no tears left, until I was numb. I didn't want to eat, I didn't care to get dressed or take a shower, I just wanted to lie there." Anthony's feelings for Jennifer might have been there all along because the two had history, but he should have put way more thought into who he chose to marry in the first place. So in a way, they're both at fault here. Number 5. Insensitive comments. To give you some background on why everyone felt that JLo was trashing belly dancing. So a part of the 2020 Super Bowl performance featured young dancers sitting in glowing cages, which many people assume represented the immigrant children in cages at the US border. But she apparently had a hard time convincing the NFL to do this, and said, quote, "I'm trying to give you something with substance, not just us out there shaking our effing asses and effing belly dancing." She went on to say that she wants something real, something that's gonna make a statement, something that's gonna say we belong here and we have something to offer. Now, if you're confused about why that was so controversial, essentially she compared the art of belly dancing to just shaking your butt for the hell of it. In fact, that particular line was shared across Twitter and people were big mad. It was just a little culturally insensitive to say, considering the fact that the dance has long been associated with Middle Eastern cultures, and it's something that Shakira has become known for, using it to channel her father's Lebanese Syrian Arab roots. Number 4. Avoiding the Bronx. This one, train wreck of an ad campaign, led people to openly mock both Chrysler and Jennifer Lopez. The central premise of the ad was that sometimes JLo will drive through her old hood in the South Bronx in a Fiat 500 just to stay inspired. Although it sounds ridiculous, the marketing campaign obviously tried to draw on the singer's famous Jenny from the Block era. Most people recognize the song in which she pays tribute to growing up in the Bronx, which had been a solid part of her image since the 90s. In fact, the singer even titled her debut album On the 6, which is a clear reference to the New York subway train. A press release at the time even stated that she would be traveling through the streets of Manhattan to the Bronx where she grew up. But the ad backfired when the Smoking Gun reported that Lopez never actually went to the Bronx to film the ad, and that a body double stand-in was used instead, calling it, quote, "such a breathtaking assemblage of urban cliches," and that was putting it lightly. Number 3. The movie line interview. The infamous movie line interview in 1998 that could have almost ruined JLo's career was truly worse than you can imagine. She was 27 at the time and fresh off the success of her film Selena. She basically decided to trash all the other celebrities that were big at the time and tried to trivialize their career and contribution to the industry. In fact, when asked about Madonna, she actually said, quote, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. And I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." It was so ironic because JLo would go on to do both music and acting for the rest of her career, and critics also trashed her acting on the big screen. Also, at the time, Madonna had been a star for a lot longer than JLo, so there was no real comparison there. And when Gwyneth Paltrow was brought up, Jennifer almost seemed to laugh and made it clear that she didn't take her fellow actress's career seriously. Quote, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Yikes. Number 2. Accusations of racism. 20 years ago, Lopez was approaching full actualization as an entertainer, but a single from her second album, JLo, almost derailed her career entirely. The Murder Inc. remix of I'm Real, which features Ja Rule and Own Radio in 2001, was ruined by the N-bomb that she drops in her final verse. The issue was that the song was an instant hit, so much so that 10 years later, in 2011, Billboard gave it the 6th spot on its 40 biggest duets of all time list. But rightfully so, people were outraged by her use of the loaded term, not only because she's a Latina artist, but at her level of success, where she has a platform and sets an example to young fans, using such a derogatory word is at best offensive. But as the accusations of racism started to mount against the star, she eventually spoke out to defend her actions on the Today Show. Quote, "For anyone who thinks or suggests that I'm racist is really absurd and hateful to me." Although many people think this is not an excuse, it was later revealed that the track was actually written by Ja Rule himself, and apparently he encouraged her to say it. And number 1, fired a maid. This one is really indefensible. Jennifer Lopez allegedly got a German hotel maid fired for asking for an autograph. Pratt was a staff member at the luxury Melia Hotel in Dusseldorf, Germany during Lopez's stay in 2012. She was a big fan of JLO and worked up the courage to knock on the star's hotel door in Dusseldorf to ask for an autograph and was promptly turned away. Pratt claims that she was relieved from her post the day after the incident. She told The Sun, quote, "I am an incredibly big fan, so I took all my courage and rang the doorbell to get an autograph, but I was rejected by 2 assistants at the door. A day later, the cleaning company that employed me at the hotel called and said that Ms. Lopez had complained. I was fired right there on the phone." If the incident really happened, it's hard to ignore the irony when you remember that Jennifer played a hotel maid in the movie Made in Manhattan. After receiving a rightful amount of backlash, the pop star wrote on Twitter, quote, "Come on, thought you knew me better than this, would never get anyone fired over an autograph. First I heard of this was on Twitter, #hurtful. Number 10, Mariah Carey. This celebrity feud is legendary, so it's only fair that we start off with this one. JLo and Mariah Carey have been at each other's throats since the early 2000s. In fact, most people remember the iconic line that Mariah told a German reporter, "I don't know her." Although it sounds hilarious, Mariah has maintained her negative opinion of JLo all these years. For example, an interviewer once asked her what she thought about Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez, and she responded by saying that they don't even belong in the same category for a very specific reason. Well, it's hard. You can't really put those two people in the same category because one is in a really different generation. They just started singing later. But when you talk about Beyonce, I think she's wonderful, she's great, she's a talented person. But it seemed that she forgot to compliment JLo as well. A few years later, Carey spoke to Andy Cohen and doubled down on her comments. Quote, "I don't know her, what am I supposed to say?" It looks like it'll take a miracle for these two iconic performers to ever be on good terms. Number 9, Rihanna. There are several celebrities who can't stand Jennifer Lopez, but one of the biggest critics of the iconic singer is Rihanna. These two former best friends had a serious falling out in 2016 for the oldest reason in the book. They were fighting over the same guy. Before the feud began, Rihanna and JLo were friendly to each other and had no reason for animosity. But trouble started brewing right after Rihanna and Drake broke up. They had a summer fling that same year, which was pretty casual, but it definitely still counted. Girl code was broken when JLo started getting close with Drake almost immediately after. But the feud really became public when Jennifer posted a photo of her and Drake hanging out backstage at her show in Las Vegas with the caption #LoveHim. In fact, the two were even spotted hugging, and fans quickly realized that something very shady was happening. An inside source close to the star said that Riri felt like she had suffered the ultimate betrayal and called Jennifer's behavior desperate. It must have been accurate because in December of 2016, she suddenly unfollowed Lopez on Instagram. Number 8, Gloria Estefan. Cuban-American superstar Gloria Estefan was originally supposed to be performing at the 2020 Super Bowl alongside fellow Latina pop stars JLo and Shakira. But after seeing JLo's new documentary called Halftime, where the singer went on a rant about having to share the stage with Shakira, Gloria put her comments on blast. She didn't seem to agree that it was the worst idea ever to have the artist share the stage, and explained why Lopez got it wrong on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. Quote, "Look, this is the bottom line. You have very little time, like 12 minutes or something, to get things on and off the set. So could you do it with one person? Yes. But I think they wanted to throw a Miami and Latin extravaganza, and they tried to pack it in as much as possible." The Grammy Award winner also confirmed that she chose not to participate for a reason, seeing as JLo got so worked up about having two people perform. Quote, "Okay, and imagine what JLo would have said if I was the third. I literally would come out, done a shake your booty and out." But she went on to insist that it was their moment and that she didn't want to go on a diet in December anyway. Number 7, Nick Cannon. The Wild 'N Out star took a cue from his ex-wife Mariah Carey's famous phrase to throw shade at Jennifer Lopez during his guest appearance on The Wendy Williams Show. While discussing Hollywood crushes during the Hot Topic segment, the 41-year-old first named Carey, his ex-wife and mother to their two twins, Moroccan and Monroe. Quote, "Number 1, Mariah, the amazing mother, superstar, singer." He then went on to name Halle Berry and Naomi Campbell as his second and third choices. A producer then suggested JLO as an option, and he just responded with, "I don't know her." After the audience erupted into laughter, the host added, "That was a joke for the lambs. Shout out to the lambs," as Carey refers to her fans as the Lamely. Cannon made it clear who he supports in the ongoing battle of the divas, and naturally he sided with Carey, so we can't really fault him for that. It's been a bit of a running joke for years that Mariah wasn't kidding and didn't actually know JLo personally when she gave that interview, but it was too late to clear the air, as the classic "I don't know her" line has gone down in history as one of the best ways to shade someone. Number 6, Rosie Perez. Both Jennifer Lopez and Rosie Perez have served as inspirations to the Latin community for over 2 decades, but they haven't always gotten along. They met back in 1991 during an open casting call for In Living Color. At the time, Perez was the show's choreographer, and Lopez was auditioning to become a member of the dance troupe known as the Fly Girls. Her audition was unsuccessful, but Perez saw a star quality in JLo and actually pulled some strings to get her in. But after she was in the group, it became clear that Lopez didn't get along with her fellow dancers. According to Perez, she was labeled as a diva right away. All of the girls were coming into my office and complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage. Perez said that at first she didn't believe it, but then JLo screamed at her saying, "I know I'm good, I'm better than any of these girls and you know it." What's worse is, after JLo left the show and made it big in the music industry, she went on talk shows trashing her former choreographer. Perez also implied that JLo ghosted her. Quote, "I called her up, she wouldn't pick up. Frustrated, I left her an irate message on her answering machine. Instead of calling me back and hashing it out like friends do, she went on a major talk show and reiterated my lashing." Number 5, Brandy. Brandy has had a public feud with Jennifer Lopez since 2017, and according to Kiwi Report, she made it clear that she supports Mariah Carey going against JLo too. Basically, she posted a photo of herself on Instagram hugging Carey with the hashtag #SheKnowsMe. The caption was super perfect and a great reference to that famous "I don't know her" comment. So the whole thing tells us that Brandy is totally teaming with Mariah. Brandy's post exploded on social media and Lopez fans immediately took offense to it. Mariah saw the backlash and chimed in to Brandy's photo, commenting with a simple "I sure do." But the singer was quick to defend herself from hate comments and edited the caption shortly after posting it with, quote, "Oh my god, what happened? I swear to goodness, I don't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and now everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny, can't take this one down. I love this picture, and whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable. You know that I am." She totally doubled down on dissing Jennifer and siding with Mariah, adding, quote, "Also, I've met her several times. Like the several seats that should be taken, she does know me." Number 4, Nicki Minaj. These two have allegedly been feuding since 2012. It all started when Nicki was performing on one particular episode of American Idol at the same time that JLo was sitting on the judge panel. In a rather awkward moment, Nicki asked if she could come back on the show as a guest judge and asked JLo to scoot over. As a Latina artist hit back, she said, "I don't know if there's room for both of us." It was one of those joking moments that seemed like there was something else behind it, but nevertheless the two seemed to be just joking around, even though Nicki told a reporter backstage, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." Okay, so now we're jumping to 2015 when fans swear that Nicki shaded JLo for performing her song at the American Music Awards. As she was performing a small part of Anaconda, the camera cut to Nicki in the audience looking less than happy with the rendition. The clip showed her emotionless face and made it seem like she didn't approve of the way her song was being used. Number 3, Ryan Seacrest. This incident gives Ryan every reason to hate JLo because it's pretty bad. Ryan Seacrest worked alongside the singer on American Idol and the two quickly became friends. But all that seemingly changed when the talk show host revealed that he flew down to Miami to celebrate her milestone 50th birthday, only to be denied entry at the door. Ouch. He recalled the whole story on Live with Kelly and Ryan and explained that he flew down from New York for only a few hours because he had to make it back in time for the next morning's show. But when he finally arrived, the doorman told him, "You're not on the list," to which he responded, "Clearly, there's a mistake. She invited me personally." But upon being denied, he checked the list and couldn't find his name. The doorman just asked him to wait, made a quick call, and was able to confirm that Seacrest was indeed on the guest list. But the host went on to say that he was the first person there and no one really got turned up until after he left. It would have certainly been a little embarrassing, to say the least. Number 2. Cameron Diaz. Throughout the years, Jennifer Lopez has been known to speak negatively about her fellow actors, and it looks like it may have come back to bite her. During an interview in the late 90s, JLO explained that Cameron Diaz was just a lucky model who was given opportunities. She did mention that Diaz can be good when directed, but Lopez's past comments about Cameron's career allegedly made things super awkward between them when they both had to buckle down and work together in the 2012 comedy What to Expect When You're Expecting. Several anonymous sources on the set of the film claimed that the two stars did not get along at all during the shoot. In fact, it was reported that Cameron said the singer was a nightmare to work with. Quote, "She even said that Jen should stick to her day job, meaning American Idol and singing." According to The Insider, JLo demanded to eat at specific times, no matter what, and stops working when it suits her, and she had her assistant run over to her with food. This is what allegedly drove Cameron crazy. Another source claimed that the co-stars actively avoided one another while filming, and tensions were thick. Number 1. Ojani Noa. The former couple were married on February 22nd, 1997 and got divorced barely 1 year later, in January of 1998. It was so long ago that you would think Ojani has moved on from the relationship, but apparently he's still holding on to a bit of resentment. In fact, Jennifer's former flame was out to make a buck off their brief marriage by trying to expose revealing videos from their honeymoon. Ojani was even hauled into court after he started planning a tell-all movie based on the revealing home footage called How I Married Jennifer Lopez, the JLo and Ojani Noa story. The result? Well, she sued him for a whopping $10 million and demanded a permanent court order blocking her ex from making any videos public. Ojani also threatened to write a tell-all book unless he was paid $5 million by the singer. His unpublished book alleges that JLo had multiple affairs, including one with Marc Anthony during the 11 months that they were married. But a judge was not having it and awarded her $545,000 in damages and quashed the book, ruling that it violated a 2004 deal not to publish details of their relationship. Her team calls the movie an outrageous attempt to make money and received substantial compensation. So it's clear that he's still a little bit bitter. Number 10. Miley Cyrus. In 2013, Miley Cyrus allegedly got very jealous when Jennifer Lawrence went after her ex Liam Hemsworth. The jealousy was likely sparked by headlines claiming that the Hunger Games co-stars were dating, and Jennifer didn't really bother doing anything to shut down those rumors when she appeared on Watch What Happens Live in December of 2015 and admitted to making out with Liam off set. When Andy Cohen asked, "Have you two ever kissed when the cameras weren't rolling?" she replied, "Liam and I grew up together. Liam's real hot. What would you have done?" "Yeah, I have." Not only that, but in 2014, when Jennifer visited Late Night with Seth Meyers, she recounted a time that she threw up in front of Miley at the Oscars after party. She said, "I was in such a bad condition and I look behind me and while I'm puking and Miley Cyrus is there like, get it together," essentially saying that Miley shot her a disapproving look and shamed her for puking. But when the former Disney Channel star got wind of the story, she called BS and responded with a tweet saying, "That never happened." If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9. Chloe Sevigny. The fashion icon and indie film darling voiced her annoyance about how actors these days have to now have marketable personalities. She went on to comment on how irritating it is to see the likes of Emma Stone or Jennifer Lawrence play to the audience on late night talk shows. She said they'll have a really peppy, funny girl on the talk show rounds, and everybody adores her and loves her, wants to be her or wants to F her, and then so many people want to watch the movie or TV show. I understand that star quality, how much value that carries. Chloe ends her borderline rant with criticism of the young Oscar winner, saying, "Jennifer Lawrence I find annoying, too crass." But that wasn't the first time that the Hunger Games star has been called out for her lack of authenticity, with many film lovers criticizing her overly enthusiastic nature on various talk shows. In fact, these days a lot of people think she just tries too hard to come across as relatable, and it often feels too forced. Number 8. Lindsay Lohan. While talking to Stephen Colbert on The Late Show in 2015, Jennifer said, "I'm a big time puker. I don't stop working because I'm a show pony. And so I just keep going until eventually my body is like, if we don't make her barf or pass out, she won't stop. I get Lindsay Lohan grade exhaustion, but without any narcotics or alcohol." Of course, those comments were in pretty bad taste considering Lindsay's long-term battle with addiction. So her younger sister Aliana jumped to her defense and tweeted, "Disappointed in Jennifer Lawrence, not cool." To which Lindsay wrote, "Thank you, sister. Maybe who you're referring to should learn to support others like Maya Angelou." Her mother Dina was also upset at the comment and told Entertainment Tonight, "We have always been fans of hers, so it was unfortunate that she used Lindsay as a reference of not showing up to set, and that was the whole bit. It was disappointing that she didn't have her peers back. You shouldn't trash anyone. It was just surprising. My family sticks together." Number 7. Jared Leto. When JLO took to the stage at the 2014 Oscars to present the award for Best Actor, she called out someone who was laughing in the audience and said, What is funny?" Only later did we find out that that person was Jared Leto. He told Access Hollywood about the awkward moment, saying, "What she didn't know was that Ellen was on the side making pantomiming 'Don't fall,' and my mother and my brother are all cracking up. I guess we don't have any manners. You can take them out of Louisiana, but you can't take Louisiana out of them, right?" Obviously Jared didn't take the incident very seriously. He just wanted to clear up the fact that he wasn't laughing about her. But when he was asked about Jennifer's second red carpet fall earlier in the evening, he said, "You know, I'm starting to wonder if this is all a bit of an act." So clearly he thinks that she was more or less acting clumsy on purpose. Number 6. Erika Jayne. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star had some pretty harsh words for Jennifer Lawrence after she trash-talked her at the Toronto Film Festival. JLo was talking about the Real Housewives and said, "My biggest problem with this season is that it's been boring, and I think that Erika is evil. I would go as far as to say that she needs a publicist ASAP," seemingly referencing the fact that Erika has been at the center of several lawsuits involving her estranged husband and disgraced attorney Tom Girardi. When Erika went on to Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, he asked her what her reaction was to Jennifer's comments, to which she responded, "Well, you know, it's easy to label people when they are at their absolute lowest going through something in real life on television. But anytime that she would like to come down and mix it up with us, I'm sure that we could unmask the ugly parts of her personality as well." Which was not only a great comeback, but it's also true. Number 5. Lala Kent. In 2018, when Jennifer Lawrence went on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, she jokingly called Lala Kent the C word. The star of Vanderkamp Rules didn't take that too kindly and tweeted, "Did Jennifer Lawrence really call me the C word on Bravo? And talk about my mama? B, you better pray I don't see you in the streets. You're one of the highest paid actresses on the planet. You claim you are pro-women and you call another woman a C word? You are gross." Clearly Lala did not take any time to cool off, because less than a month later, she slammed Jennifer Lawrence again and said that the actress had 2 failed films in a row. She called her the type of chick who would give Harvey Weinstein sexual favors for roles. Lala also said, "I think we've come to the conclusion that she sucks. Now anytime you bring her up, I'm like, I don't have anything nice to say about her. I'm gonna say that her hair sucks, her face is a little too pudgy, like she needs to stop the drinking, you know?" Number 4. Jennifer Lopez. During a visit to The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon in 2014, Jennifer recounted an awkward incident that took place at the Met Ball with JLo. She claimed that she approached JLo asking to dance and got rejected when JLo said, "No, I'm just going to observe." A couple of days later, the singer shared her side of the story and told Access Hollywood, "I remember that we were at the Met Ball and Kanye was about to perform and it was a crazy moment. And then they came over, Jimmy Fallon, he started talking, and then Jennifer came over too. And then she was like, 'Let's go dance.' And I was like, 'No, I'm good right here.' But I didn't mean it like, 'No, I don't want to dance with you.' I just meant like, 'It's so crowded in here, let's stay right here.'" Although she clarified that she would have loved to dance with her, it seemed like it was more of a communication issue that left JLo feeling a little embarrassed. Number 3. Spencer Pratt. The Hills star has probably the strangest beef with Jennifer Lawrence ever. It all started in 2017 when she told Vogue about her troubles moving into her new home. She said, "The house had crystals everywhere and I was like, please get rid of these. I don't want people to come over here and think I'm a crystal person. But everyone told me, you can't do that, you can't move them. You have to have the crystal lady lady who put them in to move them. I just had all of the crystals yanked out, sold them, and then my effing house flooded. I hate crystals. Soon after the story ran, Spencer Pratt claimed that he felt personally attacked by her remarks. He said, "She was talking about me in Vogue like 100%. I'm the crazy crystal person she's clowning, so I'll see her, we'll bump into each other at the Beverly Hills Hotel like I see all the A-listers and they run from me." He also blamed the actress for his skin rashes and claimed that she was doing spells on him. So it's pretty clear that no one should come between Spencer and his crystals. Number 2. David O. Russell. TMZ reported that Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle collaborators Jennifer Lawrence and David O. Russell got into a loud argument on the Boston set of their film Joy. Eyewitnesses described a screaming match between them that was ear-piercing and laced with profanities. Later, a representative for the studio confirmed the yelling, but claimed that the director was just helping Jennifer to get amped up for a scene in which she screams at someone else. A day after the report, the actress stepped forward to clear up the rumor and posted a message on Facebook saying, "It's Jen. I know I don't go on here a lot because I can barely work email, but there's been a terrible rumor going around in the last 24 hours, so I wanted to clear it up. David O. Russell is one of my closest friends and we have an amazing collaborative working relationship. I adore this man and he does not deserve this tabloid malarkey. This movie is going great and I'm having a blast making it." So it's likely that all the yelling was necessary for a good performance. And coming in at number 1, Joan Rivers. While promoting one of her new films in 2013, JLO decided to rant about the pressure that young girls face in the media. She said, "Shows like The Fashion Police are just showing these generations of young people to judge people based on all the things that are wrong." But Joan Rivers was not too happy with Jennifer attacking her show, so she tweeted, "It's funny how Jennifer Lawrence loved the show during awards season when we were complimenting her every single week. Wait, it just dawned on me why Jennifer Lawrence fell on her way up to the stage to get her Oscar. She tripped over her own arrogance." Then she told Page Six, "My New Year's resolution is ensuring Jennifer Lawrence grows up and realizes how lucky she is and calms down. I love that she's telling everyone how wrong it is to worry about retouching and body image, and meanwhile she has been touched up more than a choir boy at the Vatican. Look at her posters. She doesn't have a nose, she has 2 holes. She just has to learn, don't talk if you're doing it."
At number 9, we have radio show host and interviewer Howard Stern, whose reasonings for not liking JLo comes in many forms. For one, he hates her music. Howard's typical musical vibe is 90s rock and grunge rather than early 2000s pop. But not only does Howard not enjoy Jennifer's music, he's also bashed it in the form of jokes on numerous occasions despite his attraction to fairly few pop songs in the past. In summary, it was Howard Stern's show co-host Robin who made claims while they watched her on the floor music video that radio stations were hesitant to play the song since she hadn't been charting for a while. Apparently, to further this point, he described that the relevance of JLo being a judge on American Idol kind of forced the song down consumers' throats, and Howard later accused Jennifer of being self-absorbed because the single debuted on American Idol. Howard further bashed her Super Bowl performance and even ridiculed Jimmy Fallon's praises for it as well. There was also the incident where Howard claims he spent the entirety of his run-in with his friend Marc Anthony, who was married to Jennifer at the time, being completely ignored. This further pushed the established reputation of Jennifer being a snotty diva. Howard's last straw was Jennifer's interview, where she was asked if she found Howard attractive, and remained silent while expressing a puking expression. Since then, Howard has not let up on the insults about her attitude, music, and business choices whenever she's brought up on his show. At number 5, we have former NBC World of Dance TV host and mentor Jenna Dewan, who sat on the panel with then executive producer Jennifer. Although the two dancers and celebrities seemed fine during the 2017 reality dance competition tapings, their animosity behind the scenes apparently ran deep. An unnamed outlet source once stated on Jenna's behalf that Jenna, quote, "can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery," adding that Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. Every situation, even off camera, is micromanaged by JLo, and Jenna feels very excluded. This alleged feud seemed to be squashed fairly quickly though when Gossip Cop reached out to a show producer and one of Jenna's reps and was informed that the reported beef was misleading. However, given Jennifer's past, can we really be sure of this? At number 4, we have actress Rosie Perez. She and Jennifer apparently had lifelong ties with one another that seemed great on the outside. But both Puerto Rican dancers raised in New York have zero love for each other, according to Rosie's 2014 Handbook for an Unpredictable Life memoir. In it, Rosie discusses working on In Living Color with Jennifer in a wickedly horrible light. Quote, All the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage. Despite Jennifer dipping from ILC after 2 seasons, Rosie stuck with her words of Jennifer supposedly keeping the flame of their feud burning for years after they parted. The words on the pages of Rosie's book portrayed Jennifer to be a two-faced person who would crap on Rosie one minute but then act super sweet like nothing happened between them the next.
In at number 10, post-Oscars flop. When Jennifer Lawrence was the highest paid actress in the world, she was the face of huge films like The Hunger Games and Silver Linings Playbook. But after she won an Oscar for her role in Silver Linings Playbook, her career has flatlined. Pretty much every movie that she's done since then has not taken off, and none of the films have gotten her much critical acclaim or commercial success. She even did a space movie called Passengers with Chris Pratt, and you'd think a movie with such huge stars would be a success, but again, it flopped and was widely disliked. After this, studios weren't willing to take the risk of having Jennifer be their leading lady anymore. In at number 9, she overshares. Jennifer shares relatable anecdotes all the time to appear relatable to her fans, but sometimes she overshares and it backfires. One of her worst scandals happened when she admitted that she disrespected the Hawaiian culture while filming The Hunger Games. Basically, Jen was filming in Hawaii, and in the movie she wears wetsuits a lot, which can get pretty itchy. So in 2016 on The Graham Norton Show, she admitted that she had scratched her butt on some sacred ceremonial rocks while filming in Hawaii. She said, quote, "There were sacred rocks, I don't know, they were ancestors, who knows? They were sacred, and you're not supposed to sit on them because you're not supposed to expose your genitalia to them. I, however, was in a wetsuit for this whole shoot. Oh my god, they were so good for butt itching." Apparently, she even moved the rocks so much that one came loose and started a landslide. The Hawaiian people thought it was a sign of a curse, but it was just Jen being disrespectful. After the backlash, she posted an apology to Facebook, but many did not buy it. In at number 8, Mother. The film Mother was supposed to be an artsy film to get Jen's career back on track, but it did the opposite. After having box office failures with huge movies, she decided to go back to her indie roots and work alongside her boyfriend at the time. The movie is a disturbing avant-garde horror film that gave her the space to be a dramatic actor, but after its release it was widely hated by audiences and critics alike. The whole plot of the movie was criticized, as well as Jennifer's performance. At the end of the day, it didn't get her career back on track, and it kinda confirmed that she was on the decline. And at number 7, public persona. After Jennifer became incredibly famous for her acting, her loud and goofy personality seemed to captivate the world, and it started to make her less believable as an actress. She was given the persona of a cool girl who would say whatever was on her mind, get drunk, and make risque jokes. And even though many loved it at first, the public started to get annoyed with it pretty fast, and pretty much anything she does now to seem quirky and relatable is criticized in the media, claiming she's just trying too hard. Even her infamous fall at the Oscars is deemed to be fake, and people think she concocted the whole thing for attention. All this isn't good if you're trying to act in serious roles, and most well-respected actors do their best to have as little media presence as possible. And at number 6, taking a break. Jennifer has not started a movie since 2018 and has taken a step back from the industry. She revealed why on the Absolutely Not podcast in October of 2020, saying, quote, "I realized that I needed to take some time." She explained, "I mean, we all felt that like everybody needed a break and the public needed a break from me. I needed a break." She revealed that she got wrapped up in the Hollywood machine when she took consecutive projects after she got her big break, adding, quote, "I realized that once you go into this machine, it just doesn't stop," adding that it feels like you need to take every opportunity presented to you until you're totally wrapped up in it. Finishing off that her career was taking on a life of its own, and she needed time to go off to make some changes. But in Hollywood, out of sight is out of mind, and she's in jeopardy of being forgotten about. Halfway at number 5, Hollywood enemies. Since Jennifer is so vocal and constantly covered in the media, she's gotten into some feuds over the years. One was with Anderson Cooper, who made some shady comments about her Oscars fall. When Jen was accepting her Oscar in 2013 for Best Actress, she fell while walking up to the stage. After the shocking fall, many weren't sure if it was real or just faked for attention. One of those people was CNN host Anderson Cooper. On a podcast, Lawrence spoke of how she saw Cooper talking about it a few days later, and she was hurt by his remarks that the fall could have been fake, saying, quote, "It was so devastating because it was this horrific humiliation to me that took away. I don't know if I'll ever have the chance to make a speech like that again. It didn't feel good for me not to have a speech." Apparently, Lawrence later confronted Cooper at a Christmas party, with the source saying she was really fired up while confronting him, but apparently they're all good now, and Anderson sincerely apologized for his statements. And at number 4, insensitive comments. Jennifer is known for her unfiltered comments, but in this day and age that can get you in a lot of trouble, and she's constantly called out for her insensitive comments. The worst were her comments on Lindsay Lohan. While Jennifer Lawrence was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert to promote a movie in 2015, Lawrence offended Lindsay Lohan and her family. It started when Lawrence was talking about how she got a stomach virus while filming, but she still kept shooting. Then she made the comment, quote, "I get like Lindsay Lohan grade exhaustion, but without any drugs or alcohol." And obviously, even though she was just joking, those kind of words will start a fight. Almost right after the show aired, Lohan's younger sister, Elena, tweeted out, quote, "I never breathe life into negativity, but I stand by my family. Disappointed in Jennifer Lawrence, not cool." Lindsay Lohan then replied to that tweet saying, quote, "Thank you, sister. Maybe who you're referring to should learn to support others like Maya Angelou." So it's clear Lindsay and Jen are not on good terms. And at number 3, crass. Along with being generally insensitive, Jennifer can also be very crass. Jen stirred up a lot of drama with reality star Lala Kent during her appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. It started when Andy was asking Jennifer what she thought of the cast of Vanderpump Rules. When the conversation went to Lala, Lawrence straight up called her the C word, the see you next Tuesday word, along with tons of other digs at her. As a response, Lala tweeted out, quote, "Did Jennifer Lawrence really just call me the C word on Watch What Happens Live and talk about my mama? You better pray I don't see you in the streets." This was just the first of a long string of now deleted tweets. The shade did not stop there though. Lala then went on the Juicy Scoop podcast and called out Jennifer further. She said that Jennifer had 2 failed films in a row and said she was the type of girl who would sleep with Harvey Weinstein for a role. Lawrence never responded to the shade, but Lala still brings it up anytime she's asked about it. And at number 2, rude to fans. I'm sure it's annoying and even somewhat scary to get approached by fans when out in public, but most celebrities recognize that fans should be appreciated, but not Jennifer. She's actually admitted to being rude to fans when they come up to her, so they'll leave her alone. Jennifer says it's her way to defend herself against fans and paparazzi who might want too much from her. In an interview with Variety, she said, quote, "I just generally, once I enter a public place, I become incredibly rude. That's kind of like my only way of defending myself." Even adding that if she sees a fan coming to her table, she'll start wagging her finger and making a mean face. She also bluntly responds no when people ask her for selfies. And over time, fans aren't happy about this harsh attitude and will probably turn on her. And finally, number 1, unprofessional. Even though it looks easy, being an actress is a lot of work. Specifically learning lines and figuring out what you want to do with the lines before you even show up to film. But even though Jen is an Academy Award winner, she does not memorize her lines before showing up to set. Jen was speaking about this in an interview, saying, quote, "My friend was over and she was like, 'What scene are you doing tomorrow?' And I was like, I don't know, is that bad? Is there a point in my career where I should start learning my lines for work?" And she was like, "Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it." When asked another time about the fact that she doesn't memorize lines, she said, quote, "I look over the script, but I don't sit there memorizing. I read it, I know where I'm going, I know what it's about." Even adding, quote, "I do as little work as possible, definitely." Clearly this strategy has worked for her, but I can't imagine the other actors and the director don't appreciate that she's not following the script like they are. Weight insensitivity. One thing many fans know about Jen is that she speaks off the cuff and rarely filters out what she says, which can cause a lot of funny moments as well as a lot of insensitive ones. One thing she gets steady backlash about is her comments about her own weight. Jen has been open about the toxicity of weight in Hollywood and says that she was often asked to lose weight before movies. Because of this, she's been quoted saying, quote, "In Hollywood, I'm obese. I'm considered a fat actress. I'm Val Kilmer in that one picture on the beach." Another quote said, quote, "I eat like a caveman. I'll be the only actress that doesn't have anorexia rumors." Many people take these comments to be body positive, and although we love that she won't lose weight for movies, she's also already pretty slender, so giving the middle finger to the man here is a lot easier for her. And when someone the size of Jen calls herself fat, that makes anyone larger than her feel even more insecure about their own weight. Like if Jen calls herself overweight, literally what am I? I know it's all jokes, but the self-deprecation can seem pretty insincere at times. And at number 8, biphobic comments. Another thing that's gotten Jen heat in the press has been some biphobic comments that she made about one of the characters she played. She played X-Men character Mystique in the movie franchise, and was shocked to learn that the character was actually bisexual. When speaking about the character's sexuality, she said, quote, "She has kids, she has night crawlers, and she sleeps with Magneto. Unless I'm completely wrong, I mean, she's 100 years old, she definitely had time for a lesbian phase." And obviously that phrase is gonna anger a lot of people in the community who've been working hard to break those stigmas, especially because bisexuality is not a phase. Jen also called her own style at one point, quote, "slutty power lesbian," because she had a pixie haircut, which is just wrong on so many levels. And at number 7, trash reporter. Jennifer Lawrence got massive backlash after she was rude to a reporter at the 2016 Golden Globes. After she accepted the award, she was in the press room answering questions from tons of reporters. At one point, a Spanish reporter who was speaking with an accent started asking a question, but he was looking at his phone the whole time. Jennifer tried to joke around by telling the reporter to put down his phone if he wanted to ask her questions. She also mocked him after he mistook the event for the Oscars. However, it was pretty obvious that he was just reading his questions off his phone, which is pretty common for reporters these days. After her rude comments, hate flooded in against the star. People also gave the perspective that the reporter may have been translating his questions into English, that's why he was staring at his phone. It also just rubbed people the wrong way that she assumed that everyone speaks English. And at number 6, paparazzi. Like many other celebrities in Hollywood, Jennifer Lawrence hates paparazzi. But really, I mean, who can blame her? And she makes a point to bring up her disdain for paparazzi whenever possible. Like in one interview with Vogue, where she said, quote, "If I were just your average 23-year-old girl and I called the police to say that there were strange men sleeping on my lawn and following me to Starbucks, they would leap into action. But because I'm a famous person, well, sorry ma'am, there's nothing we can do. It makes no sense." Jenna's also talked about how she doesn't like fame and how fan interactions make her really uncomfortable. And at number 3, Jennifer Lopez. I wouldn't classify this one as rude as much as just proving that Jennifer Lawrence can be very over dramatic. The feud started when Lawrence was on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and Lawrence shared a story from the Met Ball. Apparently Jennifer Lawrence and Jimmy Kimmel were very drunk and wanted to ask JLO to dance. Apparently they went over to her and she turned them down, with Lopez saying she just wanted to observe. And even though the story was lighthearted, it still made JLo look kinda bad for saying no. So JLo decided to set the record straight, and she actually came up with her version of events. She told Access Hollywood, quote, "I remember that we were at the Met Ball and Kanye was about to perform and it was like a crazy moment. And then they came over and they were like, let's go dance, and I was like, no, I'm good right here. But I didn't mean it like I don't want to dance with you, I just meant it like it's so crowded in here, let's just stay right here." So she basically called out JLo on TV for no reason. And at number 2, rude to fans. Probably one of the most bizarre things about Jennifer Lawrence is that she's admitted that she hates speaking to fans. It's so bad that she's decided to be really rude to fans so they leave her alone. Interesting strategy. When speaking with Adam Sandler, she told him, quote, "Generally once I enter a public place, I become incredibly rude. I turn into a huge a-hole." She then continued that it's her way of defending herself, and that she acts like this to make sure nobody crosses any boundaries. And just to contrast how terrible Jen sounded here, Adam Sandler said he makes a point to be really nice to his fans, saying, quote, "My life's nearing the end. I want to meet as many people as I can." And finally, number 1, hurricane. Jennifer Lawrence has become increasingly more political over the years, and she was frequently critical of Donald Trump during his presidency. However, she got some heat after she made some comments about hurricanes. From the quotes that were taken, it seemed like Jennifer Lawrence was blaming the influx of hurricanes on Trump's win, saying that Mother Nature was raging. She was harshly criticized for the comments, so she posted a statement about the incident on her Facebook page. She wrote in part, quote, "My remarks were taken grossly out of context. Obviously, I never claimed that President Trump was responsible for these tragic hurricanes. That is a silly and preposterous headline that is unfortunate, because it detracts from the millions of lives that are being impacted by these devastating storms and the recent earthquakes."